Welcome my friends to Manor Lords, returning a little bit to the channel's roots, playing a city builder, and I can't remember the last time that a city builder was releasing with this much hype around it. We are playing the demo here as part of the Steam Next Fest, so we have a very limited number of features, but the insane thing is that everything that you are going to see today is a solo dev project. Oh yes, they have the bear, it's perfect. Let us launch in, and I can't wait to be able to see. Let's push the demo to its absolute limit, see what kind of medieval city we are able to construct. And we're loading in. There are our tiny beginnings of the settlement built around Thomas, the ox, the village ox, homeless tents, a little bit of supplies, and here we are. Let's pause the game. So it is real-time strategy, but with pausing allowed. This game is so ambitious. You can scroll out and out and out, and then we hit the full map. Ah! I love it. You have different regions here. A lot of this is locked off in the demo, but the project is incredibly ambitious. You have trade routes running off the edges of the maps. You can battle and also use diplomacy to be able to gain control of different regions. You can have rival powers over here. You can actually conduct warfare, recruiting your peasants to join your militia and your army. We are playing as a minor lord underneath a king. So if you're familiar with Crusader Kings kind of hierarchy, we have to keep the king happy, but we also have to keep our peasants happy. Classic conundrum of being middle management here. But now to take care of our settlers, let's open this message. This is the initial foundations that we have to complete to be able to get our settlement started. I've already played around with the demo a little bit, so hopefully we can get ourselves really jump started here. The first thing that we're going to want to do is secure a steady supply of lumber. And there is a herd of animals over there, so I don't know how much we want to actually deforest that area. We want it to continue to be able to support that deer population for a long time to come. So let's go ahead and mount the lumber camp over here, kind of on the hillside. Be able to place this down, get things rolling for construction. Now, all of our villagers who are not assigned as workers will automatically work construction projects. And one of the beautiful things about the game here is that they have this very organic style take on building paths and roads, and also there's a number of buildings that require you to set out different zones as to where the people will be able to construct, especially their personal housing plots where they build their house, their family garden, etc. can be formed to very organic shapes, and that is something that I think is really innovative for the series. Rather than being locked out on a grid and trying to min-max things there, they're trying to make things look much more realistic. And the detail here, it's impossible for me to believe that this was a solo project with how good it looks for setting up the construction here on the lumber camp. And they have this kind of detail on all of the buildings that are currently in the game. So our other pressing matters. We're going to want to secure a supply of food. Do we have any berries? We do not. But we do have two different herds of deer. I believe that's the only animals there. They are actually rendered here. Yes, elk or deer. And then you can highlight and see the animal population here. They do expand naturally, and you can limit your hunters to only hunt them down to a certain number so that they can automatically repopulate. So we should be able to sustain ourselves off of these for a little while. Let's put down the hunting camp and then adapt with the road. Want to be able to connect everything to the roadways. Get this in here. And then we should probably get these, oh, the supplies are already snapped in, looks like. Yes, excellent. Got it. Now we go over to our building. We can assign workers to begin chopping the trees to get us additional building supplies. What I love here is that you can go over to people and you see the connections to where the people are. You can check if they're living too far away, if their path to work or whatnot is too long. You can check in on their current tasks. If they are loitering around or procrastinating, waiting for some reason, something has gotten clogged up in the supply chain, you're able to check right there. So the UI is not the slickest, but it is completely serviceable. I don't find myself feeling like I'm lacking information. Then our other options here are we want to begin setting up our storage. They're goods that are just left out in the open do decay due to rain and the elements. So very important to be able to store them in a dry, safe place. Classic survival techniques. There we go. We'll get our storehouses down. Get things running. Do we actually have the hunting camp up? Fantastic. This will also bring in pelts. And here's a hunting limit. So they will stop taking from the herd once it's down to 20, and that should be sufficient to be able to let them repopulate. We may want to set up hunting on the other side as well. And then what do we have here? Iron deposit. Do we have any other resources in our home region? So in the demo, we're only going to be able to play in this region. We have an enormous forested area, but it's very barren. The iron deposit we can use maybe for trade good. You see all these little traveling merchants. We can also send merchants of our own, villagers who will walk out to a trade post to be able to trade goods and then bring in what we're not able to produce ourselves. So we don't have access to stone, which could hold us back for some buildings, but we do have iron, so that could be our trade source. All right, speeding things up to 16x. The ox is off to carry the timber, so Jorg is tending to Thomas. The whole construction supply chain is that the ox has to be used to move the heavy lumber to be able to take it into construction sites. Now, in the full game, you will be able to do animal husbandry, have breeding farms, your own oxen herd to be able to replenish your animals. But in the demo here, we're going to have to trade for additional oxes if we want to. Additional oxen. An additional ox, we probably are only going to get one. That could be a major milestone for us. Right now we're just using the village ox, but to be able to increase your capability, you're going to have to trade for extra work animals. Which, it's interesting. You actually have the livestock of the area up here at the top. So we've got our unassigned families, the assigned families, our total population, just adults. So when you assign a worker, you assign the entire family to work there. That can be the men, the women, the children. Everybody has to pitch in. We've got our approval rating. Right now it's pretty terrible because everybody is homeless, but we're getting there. It's springtime right now. Weather is fine. We should be able to get our homes constructed by winter for sure. Public order, regional wealth, which is being able to run trade goods and connect to the trade route, the livestock, and then you have your supplies for the survival aspect, looking at both food and then firewood for the winter, which we're not actually producing any firewood now. That's going to be actually a separate building than the lumber camp or the logging camp. But we'll have to set that up a little bit later when the cold weather is rolling in. Okay, as we're waiting for this to construct, let's go show off another amazing feature of the game is that you have visit mode. You could walk around as your avatar character here. And the game has said that it's actually very buggy right now in the demo, but I think it's really interesting to be able to see your village from the bird's eye view of somebody coming around, to be able to see into the buildings. Oh man, I love it. And the game, its graphics are not photorealistic. Nobody's going to pretend that it is, but it looks good enough to actually enjoy just wandering around your village that you have constructed. Okay, back in, speed things up. Let's get this job done. There we are. The storehouse is complete. New message, construct a well and the burgage plot. So this is housing plot. So now we get to break down the housing mechanic. Let's go over to village life. Speed things up a little bit because we still need to produce a lot more timber. Burgage plot. Let's set up the well first. Now the well, underground water. No underground water? It has to be set up on these veins of underground water. It looks like our well, we don't have any great source of water just right nearby. So the well could either be along this hill or all the way over here. Honestly, this could be okay, especially if we foresee that we're going to be building more around the iron deposit for some sources of industry and whatnot. So let's go ahead and get the well here connected to the road. Another awesome feature of the game is that these roads become wider and more defined based on foot traffic. You're going to see some paths of convenience just naturally form. It's really a beautiful system that they have that a lot of games don't care about developing. Now let's set up our housing. So we got our little tutorial. I've already done this. We can walk through it a little bit faster. Really fun stuff here is that you can, the first two lines that you set up are going to be the front of the house. And then you set up two others to be able to get the plot here. If you go extra large, it will automatically start assigning to multiple plots. And as you see the little square there, the X in the one, that means it is large enough to be able to hold an extension on the house. So they have enough space to be able to hold a family garden, to be able to tend to chickens, things like this. Let's try and get one. Let's get two with one being able to expand a little bit. It's a bit wonky, maybe not our best work, but we'll get two houses over here. Let's establish a home over here for people who are working the Hunter's Lodge. Get this established. Try and make it trapezoidal to be able to not be too small to hold the house. Okay, this is a hideous play. Let's make it even bigger. Come on. The front of the house is way too small. Okay, we were struggling with that one a little more than I want to admit. But we've got it down now. And we've got... Hang on. You're the logging camp. You're the hunter's camp. Let's get another house up for the loggers. The logging camp can be relocated as they deforest the area. It can also be improved with a forester who will... Yeah, let's get two. Because we have two people employed up here. Building up on the hillside. I love it. You can build a forester to be able to replant trees and keep generating wood for the entire tenure in the game rather than just, you know, deforesting the entire area and then not being able to continue your game. That would be nightmarish. Here they are building their little houses, and we can go ahead and start laying out the foundations of what is going to come next. So also here, very important for us is to have a market area to actually be able to supply our people with the goods that we are producing. So we're going to go ahead and establish this slightly awkward, slightly skinny... Hang on, how is this? Interesting how it bent around, but I will work with it. Let's see if this is something that we like. Get the food stall here. Yes, it fits. Okay, so we want these to be able to snap to the roadway. Get the food stall established. Right now, population growth is quite simplified. I think in the full game it's going to be reworked a little bit, but right now, as long as you are meeting people's basic needs and you build a house, you will get a family to live in the house. Of course, then you have the burden of actually needing to support them, and if the approval starts dipping too low, which is getting pretty low right now, they will start to leave. But we should be able to get the houses up in time to get this approval rating up. Homeless list, marketplace, not enough food variety, marketplace, no fuel available. No fuel available, you say? You want the firewood stall? We're not actually producing any firewood, and it's not cold enough to require it. We also have a fun feature here of you can do enable idle workers on buildings. So I don't want a full-time worker assigned to the storehouse or the granary right now, but if the construction, the unassigned workers don't have anything to build, I want them to come over and help out with moving supplies in under the roofs to be able to keep them from spoiling. We're going to time-lapse here and allow our housing setups to get fully established. I love this. The two little plots with the fence. Good fences make good neighbors. It's true. Oh, there we go. People up. So people are going to be moving out of the homeless tents and into our new plots. I love it. Okay, while they're working on that, let's check out the housing over here. So it's going to be a big deal in a second here to be able to upgrade a plot to level 2. This is something from Anno that Anno does. Anno is most famous for it, right? You develop food variety, clothing variety, entertainment, faith. Once all of these basic needs are met, you can improve the house level, get a higher level of citizen, they have a higher standard of living, they'll pay more taxes, etc. It all snowballs and fuels your economy. So right now they're just peasant families, and all they're looking for is food, clothing, entertainment, and faith, and it goes on and on up. You have a whole code on what is being met, what's mission critical, etc. You can go to the general page and be able to see what they're storing in their house. You can see the inhabitants of the house. They've just got a child who is helping with the woodcutters. Quite nice. And then back over here, this is where you can do your improvements. So you can upgrade to level 2 once all the needs are met. And it also costs wood because they're going to have a better structure. But then you can also do what are called extensions. So we can have them start a vegetable garden here. It'll produce vegetables. Doesn't provide a yield in the winter, but this is an extra food source for extra food variety. You can get a chicken coop if we have some money to be able to start it, and a goat shed to be able to produce milk consistently throughout the year. Let's go with the vegetable garden. Right now it is June. That's still considered spring. That's time enough to be able to get a harvest in, right? We'll have them begin that and spend our, I think it was a tool. We had to spend a tool to be able to get that in. Yes. Okay, excellent. And these houses going up on the hill, we are almost completed. Fantastic. How's the animal population holding out, and how are our food supplies looking? We have food for 3 months and fuel for 6 months. Wild animal population at 34 over there. I think our goal is going to be to get a couple extra houses, set up another trapper's hunter's lodge over here to be able to gain our food supply from that side of our region, and then probably look to set up the iron deposit for some trade opportunity. New message. Okay, so this is where the gloves come off for the demo and you're really left to your own devices. We have to set up the clothing stall, the firewood stall, and the food stall, so we have a fully developed market, but then you have to get 3 level 2 houses, which means you have to do a whole lot of other development that the game is not holding your hand for. So this is, and then this is the 1,800 days to be able to accomplish this task. We have a long time to do it, but we also have a lot of threats of trying to survive the winter and some other things that are going to pop up. So this is where we can start to get creative with things. We have enough timber to go ahead and develop some new bits. Let's go to gathering, set up the hunting camp. You don't want it to overlap with animal habitat, may cause migration. Interesting. Let's get this established. Oh, yep, roads. I believe I've already seen that tutorial. Have it snake back in. Love it. And then we should probably get a little housing plot over here to also support the workers on this side. Do we want to nestle it in? This corner seems a little bit more desirable. Place it like so. Too small. There we go. Jenkins' house built along the trade route. We'll get that set up. Now, do we have any buildings that are missing workers? So we've got one over here. We should probably set up just a couple extra houses, I think. Be able to get some more free idle workers to help run the granary here, bring everything in under the roof, and the storehouse as well. Well, I suppose we can just leave this hunting camp turned off until we see those idle workers tick up. Okay, so we'll get this set up. And then what are the other key needs? The church is going to be 8 lumber, and then the tavern is going to be 5, but we have to have a way to be able to serve drinks at the tavern to be able to fulfill the entertainment need. So this is going to be a long road. They give us a couple years to do it. It's actually going to take a couple years to get these level 2 houses. This first year, I'm only concerned about the bare bones and surviving. And I think that a big part of surviving is actually going to be setting up this iron deposit to be able to have trade goods. The ambiance with the rain, so cool. It's really coming down. I actually feel bad for these guys that are out here working. You guys should be inside. You're gonna get sick, guys. And we only have 2 months of supplies left, so we've gone ahead and activated an extra worker over here at the hunting camp. I don't want to overhunt and bring the population too low. Just have the 2 camps with 1 worker each. Let the animal population stay high for now, because I know that we're going to want to support a much larger population soon. Thankfully, the animals we can hunt throughout the winter. So I think we're going to look to set up yet another house and then get firewood production playing out. And we might as well go ahead and move things over to be more based around the well. The well is all the way over here on the corner of our settlement. So let's see here. We go to foraging or gathering, and then we have the woodcutter lodge. This is what actually produces firewood. Turn me a little bit. There we go. I don't want to uproot any trees that can be used for firewood. Have this come down the hill. There we go. And then 1 more house for whoever is going to end up working this area. Yeah. Honestly, we could get a couple houses. We've got 4 wood that spans 2 plots. Too steep. Okay. So we get the terrain lines. Yeah, that is building up on the hill fairly steeply. Okay. Is there a way that I can finagle it to still work, though? This does say it's going to work. We'll set that up. And then the next thing we're going to look to do is set up the iron deposit and then a bit of our trade route. Let's check out the lumber camp to see that we still, or the logging camp, that we're still able to bring in additional logs. Check the people. Gathering and transporting. Well, that's exactly what I want to see. Alright, we have been whiling away these summer months. Our settlement is looking fantastic. Got the houses budding along the little trade route. We're letting the families assigned that normally do construction to go ahead and help us balance out our storehouses. be able to alleviate the store crunch that was happening over here at the hunting camp, full of pelts and meat. We should go ahead and just set up a trade route because we could sell the pelts as a trade item. Let's see. Let's go to trade. You have both a trading post for raw goods and then you have a livestock trading post to be able to get the livestock, obviously. Let's establish this. On which trade route would we say is the more important? I suppose we should zoom out a little bit and see what we're looking at here. So, I feel like establishing on this central route here is going to be able to snag the most traders. But here, this guy, yep, he's going to come through. Okay, I'm just wondering if there's going to be, from this trade route to this trade route, people who would miss this one pass. But I feel like building it in the middle is going to be the best option for us. Okay, let's get it set up. Probably right over here, actually opposite the market. Sounds like an excellent position. Trade post, assign. There we go. And then we can play around with trade a little bit. Coming here into October. Oh, the fall colors. It is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Let's try and find our thumbnail image here. My goodness, what a shot. It's so beautiful. So Control C is what will hide the UI if you guys are trying this out and you want to be able to just bask in the ambiance without all of the user interface up. And we are into October. Winter is fast approaching. We have only got fuel for 3 months. Let's see. Woodcutter Lodge. Okay, well you have generated a lot of firewood, but it's just not been hauled off, I assume, to the pantry to be able to be credited. Or is that how much we're actually going to burn through? We shall see. If winter becomes too harsh, we can always shuffle people around, cut people out of the logging camp, put them over onto the woodcutter's lodge, something like this. We're getting our trade post up, and then we have 6 timber available. Where, and this is incredibly important for the medieval city, where are we going to build our church? I feel like setting it up on the hill would be quite cool. Yes, let us do it. We'll have to clear away some of the forest, but this is all right. It is for the house of God. We've got 6 right now. What did the church cost? Was it 8? Village life, faith. Costs 8. Yes, not enough resources. Not yet. Then we can build it nestled in right at the peak here and then run the road on down to the rest of the village. I think that'll be quite nice, actually. Okay, trade post almost constructed. Then we can play around with the trade options. We also want to establish our iron mine to be able to trade. If we had some money coming in, maybe we could buy food if winter also becomes too harsh. But I think we're going to be okay allowing us to trap through the winter. There's the trade post. Fantastic. So the main thing is I would really like to be able to get some tools. But then I have to have something to sell. So first off, let's work on something to sell. We have so many pelts, and right now we're not refining them whatsoever. They sell, hang on, export. It looks like they sell for 4 silver. So let's set the trade to, hang on. Import only, export only, full trade. Yes, full trade. Set my target down. I only want to have 50 in stock at a time. And then assign me a worker here to serve as a trader. Oh, are these guys going to actually trade with us? No, apparently not. I guess they're not carrying any goods that they are ready to sell with us. Interesting. But if we select our people here, and then we check in at Hans, who is transporting, he is off carrying the pelts. He's actually carrying the pelts well, he might be just carrying them over to the trade route. That's probably it. We didn't have any inventory to be able to sell. There we go. We do have enough lumber now to set up our church. Let's get her built up on the hill. Let me know in the comments what, 1, we should name the village, and 2, actually I'm not sure we can name the church, but I feel like a good church has to have a name. Even if it's informal, what would we name our church? There goes good old Thomas taking the the logs up to the church construction site. We're definitely going to want to trade for a second ox here at some point with all the construction projects and having to haul lumber in from one side. I wonder if the ox has to be used to haul iron as well. If they do, we definitely want to get a second animal to help Thomas out. And what if Thomas dies? Then our village ceases to exist at that point. I mean, the Middle Ages were hard. Life comes at you fast, very unforgiving, and winter is coming. Let's see, October? Yes, so December through February is marked as winter. Okay. That means that we need to begin preparing for what next year is going to look like. That's what winter is a good opportunity for. We can get the church constructed. I don't know if we really want to add any extra families to the community during winter. That sounds foolhardy. But what we could do is try and establish our industry with the iron deposit and then look to set up our farms. We would like to lay out the farms in winter so that they can be plowed in spring and then planted. So that's effectively what this next month is going to be. The first snows fall on the ground, but the people take heart because the church has been completed. Their hearts can be warmed by the love of God. And we have our mining pit, so industry is beginning to take shape as well. We are here well into December now, able to celebrate Christmas, the Christmas Eve candlelight service in the church. Here we are, the mining pit. Now, do we want to assign anybody to actually work the mines? How has our trade been going? Our regional wealth is up to 104? That's so good. Okay, now we should probably look to be able to bring in some tools, because I was looking and remember how we set up the garden upgrade on the one house plot? Well, we only had one tool available in our entire village. We spent it on setting up the garden, but to build a farm, it's also going to cost us a tool. So we're going to have to trade for that one. Okay, import only. Target 2 tools. This seems fair to me. Our trade of pelts is actually going phenomenally well. So I think that we should go ahead and look at... Hang on. Where's trade? Trade. Livestock. Trader. That way we can get a second ox to help Thomas out. An objective that we've had for ourselves for a little while. We'll get that set up. And we don't need anybody working the mining pit right now. Honestly, with how profitable selling the pelts has been, obviously at some point we'll want to transition because we'll want to use the pelts, refine them to leather, use the leather for clothing. But right now, we just don't have the rest of that infrastructure set up. And we're more interested in setting up farming rather than the whole clothing supply chain right now. So let's get things going. How are the animal populations? So the wild animals here are down to 17. That means we're not hunting them. And then the wild animals here are at 22. Okay, so we're still able to hunt a few on this side. Why did it drop to 17? Why did it drop below 20? Did some die naturally? You guys are not able to hunt. The hunting limit is being set at 20. So what is the person doing? People? You are hunting? You are hunting and their supply is at 19? Where are you hunting? Are you hunting? Oh, you've gone all the way to the other line. Maybe we didn't need the 2 camps. If we can just send our hunters all the way across. Why do we have to build the second camp? Well, you live and you learn. You live and you learn. Let's see if he's able to... Did he take his shot? Oh, yep, he got one. The rest of these are so tame. These are just enormous bucks. There's no way they would be this close together. 3 bucks like this? No. No. Drags the body through the snow to be able to feed his family tonight. And then the other buck just died right next to it. All right, listen. Props to the game for actually modeling the hunting and bringing the animal carcasses in. I didn't expect them to have Deer Hunter built in here as well. Now, if, as I said, we're going to want to lay out where our farms will go in the future, we get this overlay for the different fertility values for the different crops that we have available. Rye is able to grow quite well all around, and then emmer is wheat. And that's going to be the main staple to be able to get your bread economy going. We can set up our fields on this hillside, which I think is far enough away from the logging camp to be okay to clear this hillside, or we could honestly reposition the logging camp And we're right next to the mining pit, but I don't think it will pollute the area. So it looks like establishing the farm somewhere over here and then plow this section of the hillside for field is going to be the way to go. Let's see, have we actually acquired a tool from our trade? Did it appear and I wasn't noticing? It's not yet made it. Okay, trade post. Our target is still here. What is our person doing? They're transporting goods in. I guess we're waiting for a trader to still come by to be able to set that up. Okay, we are actually in quite a pinch to be able to have tools. So we're going to set up a traveling trader. So this means that we're not just going to rely on people passing by with their carts. We're actually going to send our worker out to be able to acquire tools for us. And maybe we should add a second person. It's already January. I want to make sure that I have tool to be able to set up, build the farm in February in the winter so that we can actually get to working the fields in the spring. Okay, update me on how our traveling trader is going. You are transporting. Oh no. How far do you have to go? Okay, I think as long as he makes it off the map here, he's able to do the trade. But he's got to trek quite a ways. Oh boy. Okay, Hans did not get the job done. He went out and only traded pelts. He sold his pelts. He came back, did not buy tools. Did not buy tools at all. So now we have sent out Peter fast on his heels to trade for tools, and we have manipulate the user interface or the trading system. We're not allowing the trade of pelts right now. We have enough money stocked up in our regional wealth to be able to make the purchase. Unfortunately, none of these traveling merchants seem to want to sell us tools. I don't know if that's going to be changed later on, or if the traveling merchants are only ones that you sell to, you don't buy from. Maybe tools are a very rare commodity, or that's how they're meant to be. I know that we can produce our own, but we're a long way from being able to do that. We don't have the family basis to be able to do so right now. Okay, we're getting our first signs of snowmelt. This is the end of February, but our trade caravan succeeded. We have the tools required to be able to establish our very first farm. So let's shuffle around our work targets here. Honestly, we don't need another traveling trader as long as we've got the goods, and then allow the open trade of pelts once again. Full trade. There we go. If any of the traveling merchants want to be able to pick up some of the pelts, they are free to do so. Now let us lay out the farmstead just right up here. Yeah, it's all fertile ground for wheat. So let's put the farmstead right on the trade route here. Get that one set up. Also, to be able to micromanage our economy, we're not going to need more firewood, so you can go ahead and turn off, get an extra hand to the construction side of things once we get our fields set up, and some farmers working the ground. We can probably also here take a man off of the logging camp. You guys have done very well for yourselves. Yet all hands on deck for building the farm, and then in the future, clearing the fields, prepping the fields. That is gonna mark survival of our settlement. So we can get off the subsistence hunting of just these two wild animal herds who have been, now we're only able to take from the herds as they reproduce. So it's a more tenuous food supply. We have 5 months. I think the herds will get us into a time of harvest. But it's going to be we have to set up the entire bread building industry, which is always the part of the pun, the bread and butter of these kind of medieval survival city builders. As the snowmelt becomes even more pronounced, we are going to end the episode. We're going to do this on kind of a yearly bookmark section. So if you guys enjoy seeing Manor Lords, the city builder content here on the channel, leave some love on the video, leave a like, leave a comment down below. Are you guys excited for Manor Lords? What do you think after getting this alpha gameplay on the demo? I'm absolutely loving it, and I can't wait to be able to keep on pushing the demo to its limits. Subscribe to the channel to be able to see when the future episodes drop. Till next time, thank you guys for watching, and have a good one.